Okay, my name's Matt. I'm here with
Daniel?
And Neil.
and we're here at the Wollongong Game Jam 2013. Alright guys, the theme is a heartbeat. We can make that public now. First of all, what sort of game, like what game have you tried to make from that heartbeat sort of thing?
Well, we started off with the idea of going for disaster, and I started coming up with a really big idea of things we could do.
It was massive.
But we just whittled it down over
Okay.
about 10-15 minutes and went, okay, we're going to focus on this one called mechanic, which you'd suggested was.
Fires.
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 Okay, how do you use fires in your game?
Well, basically you have a number of cities on a randomly generated continent, and you have fires spreading, and you have to send out little fire trucks to put the fires out.
Okay, sort of like Australia at the moment then.
Exactly.
Yes. A little bit of the inspiration.
So if I'm playing your game and I'm about to sit down at the computer and I start the game, what happens?
You're currently presented with an island with a bunch of cities on it. Some of the names you might recognise, some of them you won't. They're not geographically correct. But basically, what happens is just an empty screen currently, nothing's going on, then a fire might start. So you've got to move your fire truck over, it'll start putting out a fire. It'll just keep spawning fires, and this rate will increase. So does the spread. If you leave a fire for too long, it'll start spreading outwards. But you've only got a limited number of fire trucks, which is one per city.
Okay.
And obviously, the further away you get from a city, if a fire spawns on the other side, it takes longer to move all the way back. So you could potentially lose that city, and you lose the fire truck that goes with that city.
No worries.
So you've got to be quite strategic on your placement. Like you can actually set up blockades, and you could say, I can happily lose that half of the map. But one of the things we're aiming at with this one is it's just going to get harder and harder and harder, which is going to be sort of shown as the months flying by and the years flying by.
Okay. So eventually you die.
Yes.
Yeah.
The temperature keeps going up and up and up,
Yeah.
and the fires spawn faster and faster.
That was a little bit inspired by one of the diversifiers, which
Okay.
was the big issue.
Yep.
Which is dealing with, environmental, political issues and that sort of thing. So like, we've currently got fires, and global warming is supposed to be making them, increasing the heat. So, well, we can make that part of the gameplay as you're increasing difficulty, because as your years go by, it's getting hotter. You're more likely to have your fires break out.
Okay. So how does the theme of the heartbeat come into play?
That's the panic of the people that are living in the cities.
Okay.
You're going to have limited resources, which will accumulate with cities. The lower the panic level, the more resources they produce. Those resources are used to move fire trucks. So if fires encroach a city, you start earning less resources, and once the city's gone, you've lost the resources there. The panic is basically the citizens are in mass panic. They're going to lose their lives, which is where the heartbeat fits in right there.
Fair enough. So when you first heard that theme last night, were you excited by it, or do you think it was a bit?
We thought it was an earthquake.
You seem to guess hard. I was going, earthquake, it's disaster, excellent.
So did you come into the night with disaster in mind already?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen the diversifiers, and it's like the big issue sort of sparked just natural disaster
Yeah.
straight away.
Fair enough. So are you confident you'll get the game out within the next 24 hours?
Definitely.
Yes.
Yep. And you going for any other diversifiers other than the big issue?
I'm looking at I think it was one screen,
Yeah.
Okay.
and I'm bored,
Okay.
which is the inspired by, but not a simulation of, a board game.
And the board game is?
Settlers of Catan.
No,
No.
it was Pandemic.
Oh yeah, I'm doing. Sorry, I get the in my head the resource part comes from because an original discussion about how our resources might work was based on the number of areas around the city, and that kind of to me was very Settlers of Catan.
The placement of things is very Settlers of Catan based on intersections, but we're currently not using it as part of the resources. We could change it, but that's a polish point.
Fair enough.
Yes, polish.
We
So-
were a bit inspired by it in terms of gathering resources,
Yep.
so there's no denying that.
Yeah. So your team name is?
Near Cats on Acid.
The Cats and Acid, okay. And now, do you have defined roles in the team, or do you just both do bits and pieces of each thing?
We're both programming.
You're both programming?
Yes.
So there's no art, you're all doing it, but there's no definitive artist or that sort of thing?
The artist is both of us, we're both programmers. That's how it's working.
Fair enough. So you're both programmers by, like that's what you've done?
Yeah.
Yep. And have you run into any major problems while making the game?
Nothing so far, thankfully. This has been a
Yeah.
very
Push
smooth.
your fingers.
It's been a very smooth game jam.
We got lucky in that our original idea, a lot of the parts of it work very well with other projects we've worked on.
Okay.
So, like the terrain generation stuff, I've been working on code that could be very easily moved to that. So, a bit of background knowledge on how to build certain aspects of the application became very useful.
Sure. And are you happy with the? There's nothing that you're thinking, we should have done this, but we haven't got time for it anymore, or you're happy with what's turned out and what's the game, or not the final product yet, but the game that you're about to produce as the final product?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Excellent. Me too. I think it's been really good. So, thanks for your time.
No
Yeah.
trouble.
Thanks very much.
I'm looking forward to playing it. Excellent.